work with me, you follow the rules. Rule number 1, you give me everything you've got. Rule number 2, then you give me more. And rule number 3, I make the rules.
Hello, Hayden Barton for the Batman Tradition. We're back again, back to back, just like this. We have a State of the Union address. Maybe that's what I'll call it. I don't know. This is the idea right now where we are addressing the Batman news and media, comics, shows, games, whatever it may be, but I think everyone's excited for, and you might have already seen this news right now, but I'm excited, and I think a lot of people are excited because finally, by the way, the Batman personal sunglasses, again, we got some news about the Batman Part 2. Now, I was talking with one of my friends the other day about this, where it's like, we're at a point now where if everything would have came out the way it needed to be, you know, and how we expected, we'd probably almost be waiting for Part 3 at the moment, you know, or that would kind of be it. But, you know, I remember leaving the midnight, or actually the early premiere access screening for Part 1 I got, driving back home with my buddy, just thinking about, you know, Part 2, not thinking that back in 2025 now, we would still be waiting for it. But I get it. There's, you know, a lot going on with DC, Warner Brothers, and things going on to what's caused this film to take so long. Now, with that, you know, I've obviously rumors happen with news in Hollywood and films and the people behind it, the writers, the actors, the creatives, all type of things can happen when delays happen and when a film obviously takes longer than expected or planned to release. And primarily with this one, it's gone from, you know, delays to kind of people being more understanding of films being delayed, because that happens all the time. And when we hear it, obviously it sucks, but it's nothing, you know, again, we just kind of deal with it because it happens, right? But the case with this film in particular, though, is that it's received a lot of delays, delay after delay after delay, and we're always kind of led to believe it was because of just Matt Reeves taking a long time with the script. And more people have added context to that of Matt Reeves is he takes his time writing scripts, you know, and anyone as crappy as, you know, because we always want it right now. If we all could, you know, ask for, hey, we want Batman Part 2 tomorrow, you know. But there is a process where it's like, well, you got to respect where if he's taking his time, he's delaying it, he's making sure it's the best possible film he can create and script he can write, you can't fault the guy for that. But as that's progressed even longer and it's been delayed more, people start to, you know, sort of get, which I think is fair, because people then obviously tend to think, well, what else could be going on, or what else is the situation that could be causing these delays, because this many delays for a script delay in writing kind of starts to make you wonder, and I think that's fair, especially, you know, with other actors taking other jobs, like Pattinson being in Doom now, and then it comes to scheduling, and some of the actors like you know, saying they haven't heard much, or they haven't heard about the script and things like that, that it kind of makes you wonder what really is going on behind the scenes. And, you know, following the lead up to this, there's been some about, you know, oh, it's just the script being delayed again, Matt Reeves is a slow writer, oh, it's kind of DC struggling with some of the direction of the films they're going with, or the possible merger of this universe into the DCU, or some people theorizing that maybe this film universe doesn't really continue as long as they planned or Matt Reeves had hoped for because of this regime change. And then it's also taken also a much more, you know, sad sad and kind of one that obviously no one hopes, but some people have implied, there could be some health related reasons as to why this isn't happening. A couple reporters, or not reporters, this is in 1920, YouTube content creators or people who kind of work in that industry have reported things about implying that, maybe Matt Reeves has dealt with some health issues. I personally, a couple months ago, had some people message me during, I think it was not the last delay, but the delay before that. They messaged me kind of letting me know what they had heard, or they had heard from some people. And these are from people, that don't really have any skin in the game as far as spreading false information or wanting to spread false information. Obviously, they implied like, hey, we're not saying this is completely concrete, but this is kind of what we've heard could be the case. That I'm not going to even say myself, just because I don't want to spread that, even with being a smaller channel. I just don't want to even be a part of that. I think when the correct information needs to come out from Matt Reeves, it'll come out when it needs to, and when, and he should be the deciding factor of that. But nonetheless, despite all of that, we got some news, was it yesterday, that lo and behold, and this actually kind of threw me for a curveball. One, the first draft is planned to be turned into Warner Brothers. Matt Reeves plans and turning that in, I believe it said by Memorial Day, which is less than 2 weeks. And also the thing I thought that threw me off too is that it also said he has been sending in pages for, I think it said the last year, subtly page after page after page. And it kind of made me wonder, is that a normal process for Matt Reeves? Is he kind of doing that just to help Warner Brothers out with like, hey, giving updates like, I am working on this is progressing, here's a couple pages so you guys can kind of know what's going on in the context and kind of what I'm thinking with it, so they kind of have an idea in that partnership? Or, I don't know. I just thought it was interesting that it turned out, because I think a lot of people would have led to believe, no one really knows. He hasn't turned anything in. They probably don't know what's going on, to actually, okay, so there might be a rough idea. I mean, Pattinson did say in an interview that he now knew, I was at the Mickey 17 premiere, that he actually knew what the film was about now, which is cool. So they are planning on shooting that, turning in the first full draft in less than 2 weeks. And this is just hopefully finally the first step in us getting that film, the production, and it's planning on starting shooting in 2026. And I just know, I think as a fandom, everyone just wants to see more Batman content, especially in films and media. It's been a little bit since we've gotten something. I think the last real piece was Batman, the Caped Crusader, which I plan on actually kind of doing a video about that. I've been thinking about that show lately. In terms of, I don't think people have thought about that show lately. I think it's kind of had its own issue with remembrance lately. But, we're just kind of looking for everything in media. And obviously, the Batman Part 2, I think, we're always starving for Batman movies. This film has so much potential. Everyone wants to see where it goes, especially leading after the Penguin series. We want to see that, continue. I personally have my theories about, I think this film, we're going to see a time jump, actually. I don't think with these delays and everything, I feel like it just continuing right after the first film, just at this point, I feel like the flood and everything that happened in the first film, it's kind of been too long for them to just, hey, now we're dealing with the flood again, especially with the Penguin show kind of dealing with that and the ramifications. Personally, I think we are going to see a bit of a time jump, maybe in regards to the similarities between, to take it from James Bond, Quantum of Solace, to Skyfall, where we kind of see a younger James Bond in that storyline. They kind of took a few years, and then when we jump back into it, it wasn't a reboot, but it kind of felt like it was turning into a fresh start. And I think this part 2 might deal with some of the aspects of the show and the first film, but I think we're going to see kind of much more of, we'll see. I would like to see, I don't know, but I would like to see it turn into where Pattinson is now kind of figured out Bruce Wayne. He's established that that's an important character and something he has to play whether he likes it or not. I'd like to see this Batman fully more matured and developed. You know, maybe we see a new suit, maybe we get a little bit more updated Batmobile. He moves and fights and goes around like we would traditionally see. I want to see that growth. And it very likely we could be just thrown right into that, where Pattinson is just a force to be reckoned with at the moment with this Batman. And I think that would be cool. But on terms with that too, I think everyone's just hoping that from here, it progressively, like, this is the first step to, like, okay, we'll see it in real time. No more delays, no more issues, no more kind of conspiracies or rumors that we have to deal with. I think we're all just ready for a Batman film, and we're ready for this one to kind of take stride. You know, someone made up a point that Pattinson started out as a year 2 or year 3 or something Batman, and now he's almost as old as Ben Affleck was when he was casted to play an older 20-year veteran Batman. So they got to work with their time and work with what they can. But this has been Hayden Barton for the Batman Tradition. Take care.